Welcome back, everybody, and welcome, Joe. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Andrea. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Chloe.
You're getting both of us.
Wow.
So, Joe, to start out with some transparency, Combs's team approached you to join his defense team, right?
Yes. And I met with Combs a few times in the federal prison, and I declined, obviously, to get involved because of a host of things. Timing. I just came off a 6-week trial in Los Angeles with the ASAP Rocky case. And it just wasn't, for me, a case of this magnitude, you need a year to prepare this properly. At least I do. That's how I do it. But there were some other factors as well that I'll keep to myself. But listen, I do think it's a defensible case in some regards. Others, maybe not so much. But I'm glad I made the decision I made. Let's put it that way.
Joe, you met with Sean, and I realized they were private conversations. Can you give us any insight into his demeanor? Was he confident, arrogant, desperate, scared? How did he seem?
Not arrogant. I wouldn't say confident or scared, but just in this vortex of this maelstrom of stuff coming at him, and he knew he was getting ready for it. He seemed to me, and he actually said to me that he's a different person now, and I could see that. The guy that we've heard about and looked at and watched was abusive, but he also said that. He goes, I was different back then. I was someone who I was so jerked up on drugs at all times.
In prison, presumably he does not have access to drugs.
No, he doesn't. But the bottom line is this. He is someone who regrets his past conduct. So I think, he understands what this looks like. I also think he understands that, the day after he allegedly raped Cassie, she sent him a very nice text message that I saw. That I think the jury is now seeing.
Yeah. That's hard for a jury.
Everyone reacts differently, Andrea. I've been a sex crimes prosecutor, so I don't want to say, here's how you have to react. There's no blueprint for this stuff, right? When you're a victim. But on the other hand, this is all fair game.
Yeah.
Why do you think this is something that the feds pursued versus this being in state court with domestic assault, rape? I mean, there are some things that have been brought up that are not, past the statute of limitations. Jane, who testified, she claims domestic violence in 2023.
Correct.
She claims all sorts of things that are recent. What do you think the feds saw when they looked at Diddy and they looked at this?
Diddy. I think they saw Diddy. I think they saw a big target, a big prize. Look, here's how you know that's the case. He's charged with the violation of the Mann Act. The count that actually, if you want to be a legal analyst, pure, straight down Broadway, he's in trouble on that one because it's simply a federal offense to transport prostitutes over state lines for prostitution. That's it.
So he can't get out of that one.
Well, he can, but it's like an antiquated charge. It's like charging Al Capone with tax evasion. I mean, you had Elliot Spitzer, the New York governor, who was dead to rights on that. He admitted he did that. His phone records, his emails, he was finished. He was dead. The federal prosecutors in the Southern District looked at that case. They didn't charge him. The violation of the Mann Act is a very, curious charge, let's put it that way. And honestly, factually, there really is no defense. Penny Garagos, in her opening statement, tried to say, well, that he wasn't paying them for sex. He was paying them for their time. It's the best they could do on the defense side. Really what they have to hope for here is that the jury is like, this case is about baby oil, about applesauce on cheeseburgers, about the most horrific things I've ever seen. But a racketeering enterprise, I do not see. And I don't think...
But isn't that called jury nullification?
That's what it's called.
They could go in closings and say, all right, you want to hit him with transportation to engage in prostitution, then throw all professional athletes in prison, throw a bunch of celebrities in prison.
Can't really do that.
Well, what do you suggest that the defense does in closings?
You can't say, well, then every other athlete who's done this, and Elliot Spitzer, well, the things I just said, you can't say that to a jury. It's not part of the evidence in this case. There's no evidence that every professional athlete or all this other stuff. But you can't say it without saying it. Well, you have to basically say to the jury, ladies and gentlemen, I think you know what's going on here. I think you understand the landscape. The violation of the Mann Act. You are the conscience of this community. Yeah, it's Judge whatever his name is, courtroom. It says it right there on his plaque. But when it comes to what's right in our community, you are the judge of the facts. When it comes to if what was done here was fair, you are the judge of the facts. Don't let anyone tell you how you have to vote on any count. Because if you think what was done here was selective, unfair, unjust, then you get the last word. No one can tell you what your vote has to be. You have to sort of say something like that. I mean, I just did that, but there's a way to do it, but without getting shut down by a judge. You don't need a federal judge to tell you you're making inappropriate arguments in front of a jury.
So, Joe, as we wind down the prosecution and get ready to start the defense, how would you tackle the defense strategy?
The defense case is a case of reasonable doubt. Let's be real. I mean, it's sort of was the same with my ASAP Rocky trial. And the judge will give an instruction on what a reasonable doubt is. It's a very powerful charge. And I spent a lot of time in my last trial focusing the jury on the term reasonable doubt and what it really means. Do you have a doubt based on a reason? If you do, not guilty. That's what they have to focus on here. I wouldn't get too bogged down and bring on much of the defense case. Their defense was through cross-examination, chopping up witnesses, getting inconsistencies brought out, motives brought out, and putting them on the stand. I understand they're not going to now, thank God. That would have been, first of all, we'd be covering this case until December. Number one, the cross-examination would go on for months. There's just things he can't answer. And it would take away from all the deficiencies in the prosecution case, in my opinion.
When you say reasonable doubt, Karen Reed pops into my head.
Sure,
given
there you go.
What we've been through this week. Your best guess, I know every jury's different, but do you think Diddy could see some prison time?
He could, and he could not. I mean, I'm not in there. I'm not looking at the jury, although I will tell you, having tried 120 jury trials, when I look at a jury, it's not like you get really any insight. You just don't. And sometimes, more often than not, you get misled by a face or something where you think you're reading something. Oh, they like me.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't like me. I don't. That's why I specifically have stopped looking at jurors when I try cases. I'm laser focused on what's ahead of me. I can't control what they're thinking other than by performance. But I think, look, they could clip them on everything. Okay, they could nail them on everything. And the reason they could is not because I think they've proven a racketeering enterprise. I don't think they have. I don't think they've proven sex trafficking. But their goal in this case was in part to get the jury to hate this guy so much. And based on the evidence in this case, he's hateable. I mean, he really is. I mean, it's just the way he treated normal people, let alone his girlfriends. Listen, there's a reason they played that tape like 15 times already. They're going to play it 5 more times during the summation. I mean, that tape is an incident of domestic violence. Now, they're going to argue it means other things. I understand that. But, you sort of reduce the impact of that, the power of that tape when you play it over and over and over. Now, the next time a jury sees it, they're going to be like, okay, here we go again. Some jurors could say, hey, they're overselling their hand here. That's sort of what I would do.
Well, we will see. Joe, you are a legendary attorney, and we are honored that you came on the podcast. We're so appreciative, and you gave us such good insight into this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Thank you very much for having me. Chloe, thanks for having me. And okay, guys, we'll speak again.
Thank you so much, Joe.